Hello everybody, this is Miss Taylor. Today I'm going to be teaching you video 14.1 about coordinate planes. Okay, so the supplies you're going to need today are your foldable document that your teacher gave you. Need a pencil and a pair of scissors. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make our foldable. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the left side and fold it to the right towards the y-axis. Then you're going to take the right flap and fold that towards the y-axis. Okay, so now you're going to take the bottom and fold that to the top. And then cut along this folded line and cut along this folded line. Okay, so if you open your foldable up, first we're going to start with this quadrant, which is quadrant 1. Okay, so this is quadrant 1. Go ahead and open up your flap, and then we're going to label the inside of quadrant 1.
3.
Alright, go ahead and copy this information down, pause the video, and then we'll talk about this. Okay, so you went ahead and numbered above the x-axis and to the right of the y-axis, so if you fold it you can see it. So this is quadrant 1, and this is your coordinate pair. So you have a positive x and a positive y. This is the x-axis, which means these are all positive right here. And for your y's, this is the y-axis, and these are all going to be positive y's. So we have points A, B, and C that we're going to go ahead and plot on our coordinate plane. So if we want to plot A, we do the x first, so we go over 2. Now don't plot yet, you have to plot with the y point too. So you go over 2, and our y is 2, so you go to the right 2 because it's positive, and you go up 2 for the y because it's positive. And that is point A. Okay, let's go ahead and do B. So we do our x first, so it's positive 4, so we go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And then our y is positive 5, so we go up 5 from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is point B. Okay, and one more for quadrant 1, we're going to do point C, which is positive 6, positive 3. So our x is positive 6, so we go all the way over to 6. And then our y is positive 3, so we go up 3. And that is point C. Okay, make sure you have all this copied down, and now you can answer Google Doc question 1. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start on quadrant 2, so if you'll label this one quadrant 2, and then open it up and we'll fill in the inside. Alright, so go ahead and copy all this down for quadrant 2. Notice we labeled the x-axis, and then copy both of these down, and then we will go over it. Okay, so for quadrant 2, notice that our x is a negative now instead of a positive, but our y is still a positive. So whenever we plot our points, we're going to go left because that would be negative x, and we're going to go up for a positive y. So let's plot our points. So our first one, D, negative 1, positive 3. So our x is our first point. So negative 1 right here, and then we're going to go up 3. That would be D. Okay, for our next one, for E, we have a negative 2 and a positive 6. So we have negative 2x, so we go over 2, so negative 2 for our x, and then we go up 6 for our y, and that's our E. Okay, for our last one, we have F is negative 5, positive 4. We have to go to our x first, so -5, and then we go to our 4, +4, to plot our point. And that is point F.
1.
Okay, and here is your Google Doc question number 2. Okay, so go ahead and label quadrant 3, it's going to be our next one, and then open it up and we will label the inside. Okay, so now we are in quadrant 3. Notice that we have two negatives now. Our x is negative and our y is negative. What that means is that when we are on our x-axis, we're going to go to the left side, which is negative, and we're going to go down the y-axis, which is negative as well. So let's plot our first point. Point G, -6 and -4. So our x is -6, so we go over to -6 on the x-axis, which is this one right here. And we go down, we go to -4 on our y-axis. So over -6, down -4, and that is going to be point G. Okay, for point H, -3 for our x and -2 for our y. So we go over to -3, then down to -2, and there's our point, point H. Okay, one more for quadrant 3. We're going to do I, which is -1 for our x and -6 for our y. So if we go over -1, go down -6, and that is our point, and that is it for quadrant 3. Okay, and here is question 3 for your Google Doc. Okay, so for our last quadrant, quadrant 4, I want you to notice that we used Roman numerals to label all of our quadrants. So go ahead and label quadrant 4 and then open that up. Okay, so now for our last quadrant, quadrant 4, go ahead and copy all of this down, including labeling your y-axis, and then we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so in quadrant 4, notice we're back to a positive x and a negative y now. For our points, notice all of our x's are positive, and like I said, our y's are going to be negative. So for our first point, point J, we have +1 for our x and -2 for our y. So we go over to +1, go down to -2, and plot our point J. Okay, for K, we have a +3 and a -4. So we're going to go over to +3 and down to -4. Plot your point, and that will be K. For our last point, L, we are going to have +6 for x and -6 for y. So we go over to +6 for our x and down to -6 for our y. Plot our point, and there is point L. Okay, and now we're going to do Google Doc question number 4. Okay, now you're going to do Google Doc question number 5. This is Mariah Taylor. Thank you for letting me teach you about the coordinate planes. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and that make sure you bring your foldable to class and submit your Google Doc.